Hey yogis, thanks for joining me with Yoga with Ashley. In today's sequence for this week, I created a modified Ashtanga sequence. So Ashtanga, it's pretty different than Vinyasa. It's not as flowy. It's definitely the poses are like broken down. It's a little more choppy. Ashtanga has 6 sequences that it consists of. So it has the primary sequence, intermediate, and then it has 4 advanced series. And in Ashtanga, there's a set sequence for every series. And every series starts with 5 sun salutations A, and then 5 sun salutations B, and then it leads into standing sequence, and then it ends in seated sequence. So today I put together a modified version of the primary sequence. That's the first sequence in Ashtanga. So just so you know, generally if you are doing the full primary sequence, it takes 3 hours. And the reason for that is because after every single pose, you cycle through your vinyasa. So it's a very hard yoga sequence. But in the interest of time, I cut it way down. So I'm hoping that this is about like 40 minutes instead of 3 hours. So yeah, let's go to the top of the mat. So like I said, in Ashtanga, you always start with sun A and sun B. Generally, you run through it 5 times for each, but today we're going to do 2 times for each. So let's start with sun A. Again, move to your own pace and breath. Go ahead. Inhale, lift your arms up. We're going to exhale, fall forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come back. Cycle through your chaturanga, whatever that looks like for you today. And with your exhale, we're going to push back. And this is our first down dog of the day. Traditionally in Ashtanga, you do not pedal out your feet. I don't care. I'm not a stickler about it. If you want to pedal at your feet, go for it. I'm not really sticking to the Ashtanga rules. Yeah, Ashtanga is definitely more formal and rigid. If you are the type of person that really loves structure and routine and want to know what to expect in yoga, I highly recommend Ashtanga. And that's what I got my teacher's training in. So I have a love for Ashtanga. I really like knowing what to expect. And showing up on the mat, knowing the routine, it's good for me. Okay, with your exhale, you're going to look to the top of the mat. You can jump or step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And inhale up. Exhale to mountain pose. So we're going to do sun A one more time. Inhaling up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, jump or step back to your chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So this time I am going to go ahead, work on my stillness, taking note of my breath. We're building heat with the sun salutations. That's the whole point of it. Getting that blood flowing, our heart rate up. And when you're ready, go ahead and look up. Again, jump or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale up. Exhale, mountain pose. So now we're going to go to sun salutation B. So again, we're starting with chair pose. And then exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or jump back, chaturanga, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you're doing the modified. And then exhale, push back to downward facing dog. And so I know in Vinyasa, I usually have you lift your leg up and then step it forward. If you want to do that, go for it. But just as a heads up for Ashtanga, you don't lift your legs. So you're in downward facing dog, and then we're going to just go ahead with our right leg, bring it up to the top of the mat. Inhale up for warrior one, and then exhale, cycle through your vinyasa. Inhale, up dog, exhale, down dog, and then we're inhaling, lifting our left leg to the top of the mat. With that same inhale, that's what you're using to lift your core. And then exhale, chaturanga. And exhale, pushing back to down dog. And now we're resting here at this down dog. So traditionally, in every pose in Ashtanga, you hold it for 5 breaths. So that's just an FYI. We're going to attempt to hold everything for 5 breaths. I'm going to attempt to be able to count. That's my goal or intention for today. Okay, maybe that was 5 breaths. I have no idea. We're going to exhale, look forward, jump to the top of the mat, and exhale, chair pose. Okay, so we're going to run through that one more time. So we're going to inhale, chair pose, exhale, forward fold, inhale, halfway lift, exhale, jumper step back to your chaturanga, inhale, up dog, low cobra, exhale, down dog, inhale, we're bringing that right foot up, that same inhale, we're lifting up to warrior one, and then our exhale, we're stepping back, chaturanga, exhale, coming back to downward facing dog. With that inhale, we're stepping our left foot forward, we're planting the foot, and again, with that same inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, we cycle through our chaturanga. If this is too fast, go ahead and slow down. And then we're resting here. So if you want to go faster than me, or if you want to go slower, it's fine. We're all going to be at down dog right now. Go ahead, take a nice big inhale. Sigh it out. My heart is pumping pretty fast right now. I'm definitely feeling that heat build up. Those sunays, they do their job, man. Okay, and when you're ready, exhale, look up, jump or step to the top of the mat. We're inhaling, halfway lift, exhaling, falling forward, inhale to chair pose, and exhale to mountain pose. So like I said, Ashtanga starts with standing sequence. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with forward fold. So for forward fold, we want to make sure that our legs are hip distance apart. A good way to check that is put your fists together and just measure them between your feet. So that is roughly hip distance apart. So we're going to inhale up, exhale, fall forward. So maybe your hands touch the ground. Maybe you're up here. If you want to put your hands on your waist. Maybe you want to bend your knees and modify. Whatever you do, just make sure that your neck is nice and relaxed. Maybe you want to sway it back and forth. If you want, you can take ragdoll. So sway back and forth. Definitely not sticking to the strict structure of Ashtanga. This is not what you would do if you were in a proper Ashtanga class. Okay, so that was probably like 5 breaths. And then what we're going to do next, another variation of forward fold in Ashtanga, is we actually put our palms underneath our feet. This is called gorilla pose. So your palm is facing up and then your toes touch your wrists. So go ahead, get that situated. Again, you're letting your neck hang free. And in this pose, it's really easy to have your weight dump into the heels of your feet. And so I just want you to play with where your weight is at, kind of rocking back and forth and kind of finding that neutral middle ground where, you know, it doesn't feel like you're going to fall forward, like your weight's not totally on your tiptoes, but it's also not totally on your heels. So finding that neutral ground where it just feels even. And also, if you want to go ahead and wiggle your toes, give your palms kind of a massage. I like to do that. Okay, and when you're ready, we're going to slowly, with control, come out of that. And again, I know I said this earlier, but just as an FYI, the reason that Ashtanga takes so long is because after every single pose, you cycle through your Sun A. So like we did our forward fold, and then we would have cycled through a Sun A. And then we would have done gorilla pose and cycled through a Sun A. And now we're going into triangle pose, and then after that you would do a Sun A. So doing all of those Sun A's, it takes up a lot of time and energy, builds a lot of strength. So we're going to do triangle pose. So I'm going to have us step back with our left foot. And so our left foot is facing, let's see, towards our left side, whereas our right foot is facing forward. So it's almost like you're setting up for a warrior one, but not quite. We're not lunging into it. We're going to keep our right leg straight. And then we want to square our hips for this initially. And then the best way that I was taught to do triangle pose is we want to extend our right arm and let's reach forward, like reach as far forward as you can. And then with your exhale, we're going to come and twist. So there's a couple of different options here about where your right hand goes. If it's available to you, you can set it on the mat, but you don't want to dump your chest down to get there. You still want to be able to have a nice wide open chest. If you can't do that, that's fine. You can also place your hand around your ankle area or even your shin. So those are 3 options without props. Or go ahead and take your block and you can play with what side you want it on. Maybe you want it on the lowest, medium, or high. And this just honestly brings the floor closer to you. You're getting the same exact benefits. It's going to feel the same exact way, maybe better. I really like to use a block on triangle, even though I can technically touch the mat or my ankle without my chest totally dumping. It just feels better. It feels more supported. I feel more grounded. I feel like I can hold this pose for way longer when I use my block. So I encourage you to use a block. If you don't have one, it's fine. Wherever you are is great. Okay, and then from here, I am going to kind of link this pose with the next pose. We're going to do extended side angle. So what that means is we're going to bend our right foot, and you might need to step back a little bit more with your left foot, and then you're going to bring your left arm, over. So this creates a nice line. And then it really doesn't matter where you have your right arm. Some people like to place it on the outside of their foot, and then some people like to place it on the inside of their foot. And honestly, I fluctuate from day to day or even side to side. But I just want to let you know that you can play with either one. Again, if you want to bring your block and help with that, go for it. Traditionally, our gaze is at our middle finger. Holding this for about 5 breaths. And when you feel like you've hit that, we're going to go ahead and come up to the top of the mat. And we're going to do that again on our other side. So we're at the top of our mat, and then we're going to step back this time with our right foot. My left and right is quite challenging. Okay, so again, now we have our right foot sticking out as if we're doing warrior one. Our right leg is back, right foot is facing towards the right, and then our left foot is extended straight out. And then again, we're going to inhale up, exhale, this time with our left arm. We're going to extend, reach, 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 reach. And then when we can't reach anymore, we're going to drop down and twist. So whatever variation you took in your triangle pose on the left side, I encourage you to take that same variation on the right side, just for consistency. Yoga is very much about consistency, so I will preach it. So your gaze is traditionally up at your middle finger, your core is nice and engaged, and with each exhale, if you want, you're actually trying to twist more. So you're opening up your chest. This is almost like a heart opener right here. It's a spinal twist and then also a chest opener. And if this is hurting your neck, go ahead, drop it right here. Maybe you want to drop it down, maybe looking at your left arm is what feels comfortable for you. Again, I am not a stickler about gaze or dristi, if you want to call it that. Okay, and when you feel ready, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into our extended side angle. So again, we are bending our left knee. If you want to step back a little bit more, maybe heel toe it. Again, we're either placing our hand on the outside or the inside of our foot. But again, wherever you put it last time, please put it in the same spot on this side. I think I had my block last time. And so we're extending. And just like triangle pose, for our inhale, we're reach, reach, reach. We're stretching that right arm up. And then our exhale, we're actually twisting a little bit, getting that heart opener. So extended side angle is actually a variation of triangle pose. They're in the same family. And so that's why it feels similar. It's just a variation of triangle pose. Okay, that feels about 5 breaths. Okay, and when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and we're going to come to the top of the mat, set your blocks back, and next we're going to go to wide leg forward fold. So let's go ahead, let's step back with our right, and we're going to come to the side of the mat. So for the first variation, we're going to keep our hands on our hips. We're going to inhale up, lengthen, exhale, we're going to fold forward, flat back, and we're going to bring our hands out flat. And if you want, you can kind of heel toe your legs farther out if that feels good. And you actually want your feet to be just slightly pigeon-toed. So not extremely pigeon-toed like this, but so let's say this is straight, just a touch. And then we're inhaling, halfway lift, exhale, fall forward. So your hands are about lined up, like the top of your fingers are lined up just about with your toes, and then you're dropping your head. So breathing here, core is engaged, and again, taking awareness of where your weight is at. Is it at the heel of your toe? Is it all the way up on the ball of your toes? And finding that neutral ground. You should really be feeling this stretch in your hamstrings right now. Okay, and when you have reached 5 breaths, we're going to go ahead slowly with control, coming up, And we're going to do 2 more variations of this. So we're going to inhale up, exhale, falling forward. And this time we are actually keeping our hands at our hips. We're going to stay right here. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And this is just to deepen our pose. Again, letting our neck hang free. So our navel is engaged. So we're sucking it in and up. And again, with each exhale, we're deepening. How far down can we go? And again, this should be a nice stretch, not painful. Okay, when that feels like 5 breaths, go ahead and inhale, lift with control and a flat back. One more variation, so let's go ahead and inhale up, exhale, falling forward. And this time we're actually going to wrap both of our peace fingers around our big toes. And then I like to use my thumbs. I put them down on the mat for support. That's just what I do. I don't know what other people do. Maybe they make fists. It just feels right for me. Kind of using them as kickstands. So we're going to inhale up, halfway lift. Exhale, we're going to pull down for this one. Really pulling from our big toes, using that grip that we have to really pull us just a little bit farther than the rest. Again, letting our neck hang free. And with each exhale, go ahead and pull like a little bit farther. Really trying to deepen that stretch. Remembering to breathe. And when you feel ready, we're going to unhook our peace fingers and we're going to slowly, with control, come up. I like to kind of pigeon toe up. Maybe I jump. And then we're going to come to the top of the mat. And next, we're going to do pyramid pose. I don't think I've run through this before, so I'm going to do it a little bit slower. So we're going to step back with our left foot. And so we're maybe about like 3 feet stepping back, and you don't need to be in a straight line. Kind of think of it as if you're on railroad tracks. You don't need to be like on a trapeze rope, and that's just going to help with balance. So again, our right leg and foot are facing forward, and then our left leg is actually pigeon-toed out towards the left, again as if setting up for like warrior one. It's not as intense, like warrior one's pretty drastic, but just a slight pigeon toe. So for pyramid pose, we're going to inhale up, lift, and then exhale, we're going to fall forward. Let's just keep our hands at our hips, and then if it's available to you, go ahead and relax your neck. And so the most important part of pyramid pose is that your hips are square. So you don't want to be dumping all of your weight like towards your right. You want to square it out. And your back is nice and straight. You should be really feeling that stretch in your right hamstring. Your core is engaged. Breathing. And when you're ready with control, go ahead and come up. And we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. So we're at the top of our mat, and we're stepping back now with our right leg. So now our left leg is straight, and then our right leg is about 3 feet back. Again, on railroad tracks to help with stability. Your right foot is pigeon-toed out. Your hips are nice and squared. And we're going to inhale up and then exhale, fall forward. Again, really keeping consciousness about where are our hips. Is our left hip now like dumping, like does it feel like it's really high up and then the right one is lower? If it does, go ahead, like play with your hips and really finding where your weight is. Does it feel like it's heavy in the left? If it is, that means your hips aren't square. So you want to square them and then focus on your back being straight. You're engaging your core and you're letting your neck drop. Squaring your hips in this pose, it's pretty difficult, especially if you're new to the pose, if you don't have a mirror or if you don't have someone to correct you. It's pretty difficult, and it took me a really long time to even get that sensation of weight. So just don't even worry about it if your hips are a little bit off. It's fine. It's not going to hurt you. That's just something to be aware of and to work up towards. So let's go ahead to the top of the mat. And now we're going to do extended hand to big toe. So again, you can face that way if you want. I'm going to face the camera for right now, just for space and so that I can show you. So a couple different variations. I'm just going to put my strap right here for now. So this is a balancing pose. So we're going to first lift our right leg. So let's go ahead and let's shift our weight over to our left. So let's go ahead again, like I like to do, lifting those left toes, separating them, and then planting them back down so you have a nice solid grip. And then for the first variation, we're going to inhale our foot up. Ooh. And so you can stay here for the whole time if you want, that's fine. If you want to go to the next variation, go ahead wrapping your peace fingers around your big toe, and then with your inhale, you're going to kick out. So it's up to you. Maybe this is accessible with your finger or taking your strap. Maybe you have a jump rope, whatever you have. Maybe that makes it more accessible. So you can stay here. If you want to bring it one more variation, you can bring it out to the side and then make sure that your head is facing the left. I like to bring my left arm out just for that counterbalance of weight. Really, really helps. So these are all variations, and I'm going to come out just to show you. Again, you can stay here the whole time. If you just want to lift your leg straight out and hold it, you can do it. That always makes my leg cramp for some reason, so I don't like to do that. Or you can also just move your bent knee. Ooh, balance is hard for me today. You can move your bent knee out to the side and hold here. Or if you want to play with your dristi, moving your head over your left shoulder. And I just want you to keep notice of the foot. I want the foot to be engaged if you are bending it. And then wherever you're at, I'm going to get back in to the full pose. Wherever you're at, then we're going to slowly bring it back to the front. And then hold it here for a couple of seconds. And then slowly with control, bringing it back up and setting it down. Whew, shake that out. That was hard for me today, and that's my good side. I'm scared for the left. Okay, so now let's go ahead. Let's shift our weight to the right, getting that grip. Hands to hips, and we're going to inhale. Let's lift that left foot. And then again, whatever variation feels good to you, I'm going to go ahead and use the strap. So putting the strap around the ball of my foot. And I'm extending it. And when I find this balance, if I want to go a little bit further, I'm going to slowly, with control, bring it out to the side. And if you want to do this up against a wall, go for it. There is no shame. You're going to get the same benefits with your hip and hamstring. Just doing it without the wall, it makes it more of a balanced pose. So you're also getting that foot and ankle strength as well. Okay, and slowly with control, we're going to bring it back to the front. Maybe we're dropping our strap, holding it out for a few moments, and then bringing it back to where we started. Whew, that left me out of breath. Okay, and so when you're ready, we have made it to the seated sequence portion, my favorite. Okay, so we're going to start with a seated forward fold. So we're going to extend both of our legs. Our feet are nice and active, so they're upright. Again, grabbing your strap if you want. So we're engaging our core, our chest is open, our shoulder blades are back and relaxed, and we're going to inhale up, straighten, exhale, forward fold. So again, wherever you want to be, maybe you're staying here today, maybe you're right here, maybe you're all the way down. Whew, that feels hard today. I'm going to stay right here. This is what feels good for me today. And traditionally, your gaze is at the top of your toes. Core nice and engaged. And when you're ready, you've done your 5 breaths. Whew. You're going to set your strap aside. Maybe you want to kick your feet out. And we're going to go to AshtangaYoga A. So we're going to start on our right side. So we're going to bring our right leg up so that our legs are kind of creating this L shape. Our knee is facing out towards the right, whereas our left leg is nice and extended long. And so this pose, there's a slight spinal twist to it because we're actually going towards the left. So we're going to inhale up, exhale, forward fold. Again, taking your strap if you want or need to. And again, maybe you're up here today. Maybe you're going about halfway, or maybe it's accessible to you. And you're doing forehead to shin. So unless you're doing forehead to shin, again, the gaze is at the top of your big toe. So wherever you're at today, it's fine. Again, just really paying attention to the flat back. Core is engaged, and you're lifting. And if you're up here, really focusing on opening that chest, relaxing the shoulders, and keeping that steady gaze. Maybe you want to shake them up, and this time we're going to go to the left side. So again, starting with AshtangaYoga A. So this time we're extending our right leg, we're keeping it active so our toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, and then we're bending our left leg, bringing it up into our groin area, as far up as that is accessible to you. Again, if you want your strap, go ahead, wrap it around the balls of your toes. And we're going to inhale up, exhale, falling forward. Again, our dristi is at the top of our toes. We have our flat back, our core is engaged. We want to keep note of where our shoulders are. We want them nice and relaxed. We don't want them up here by our ears. And if that's happening, just go ahead, relax them. drop them, and even kind of roll your shoulders back a little bit so that your chest is open. If you're up here, you really want that chest open. You don't want to be like dumping, rounding that back, closing that chest area, but really opening up. And when you focus on opening up your chest, that's going to straighten your back. You'll feel a big difference if your shoulders and chest are concaved in to when you open them. There's just that natural alignment that happens when your chest is open. So keeping that in mind, I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. And then when you're ready, go ahead, put your strap aside, kicking your legs out. And next we're going to go to boat pose, also known as Navasana. So we're going to do 2 rounds of this. Again, there's a couple different variations, so I'll show you. So you're kind of balancing on your bum a little bit, and we're really just trying to move my mic to the side so that I can do this pose. So this is like a balancing core exercise or pose. Sorry, I hate to use the word exercise in yoga. So there's a couple different variations. You can bend your legs, keep them right here. Again, you want to be able to keep that chest open, nice flat back. Maybe you're right here. If you want to push yourself a little bit, go ahead and straighten your arms, but you want to be able to keep that chest open. If you're going like this to get those legs extended, it's just not worth it. I want you right here, chest open. Again, core is engaged. Your shoulders are nice and relaxed. They're not up by your ears. And we're holding this for 5 breaths. However long, I have no idea how many breaths. So let's go ahead and we're going to slowly, with control, lie down. Take a couple moments to relax. Maybe you want to shake your legs out a little bit. Might feel a little crampy. And when you're ready, we're going to come back up using our core, boat pose. Again, really making sure that you're still breathing here. It's easy in this pose to hold your breath. So really taking notice of your breath. Inhaling and exhaling evenly, nice and controlled. And when you're ready, go ahead, we're going to come down and we're going to come to butterfly pose. So again, maybe your hips are super tight and you want to put your blocks on either side. You can do this. Hold here for 5 seconds. Perfectly fine. Or maybe you want to lift your hips, your actual hips a little bit. And doing it and sitting on the block helps with your knees falling open. Maybe you have 3 blocks. I don't. Or maybe you want to use your block to lift your bum up and then you put pillows or blankets or a towel on either side of your knees if your hips are really tight. I just want to give all variations and options. So for the first variation, we're holding this upright. So our spine is nice and elongated. With our inhale, we're really opening that spine as if we're on a string and someone's pulling us up. Again, chest open, shoulders relaxed, core engaged, and breathing. Got that yogi smile on. We're almost there, you guys. We are almost done, I promise you. And with the next variation of butterfly, we're actually going to fold forward. So if this is not available to you, go ahead and hold the upward facing butterfly for 5 more breaths. If you want to deepen this, go ahead, inhale, lengthen, exhale. Maybe you're going like this. Sorry, I know I kind of rounded down, but you want to actually keep that flat back. Maybe you're right here. Maybe you want to walk your hands out. Maybe you want to drop your neck a little bit. Whatever variation feels right for you, go ahead and take that. Again, holding for 5 breaths, to your 5 breaths, not my rambling. And And when you feel ready, slowly with control, we're coming back up. Let's set our props down. And we got one more pose and then Shavasana. So we're actually going to get into bridge pose. So go ahead, lie down on your back. Again, your legs are about hip distance apart. You want your heels to be able to touch your fingers. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead, inhale up. We're pushing our hips up using our core. If you want, go ahead and take a block and set it down in that lower spine area, kind of like where your spine meets your booty. You can hold it here for a supported bridge. If you want to take it to the next level, you can clasp your hands underneath and slowly walk your shoulders under. Again, lifting your hips up towards the sky. Really lift, lift, lift. And when you're ready, slowly with control, coming down. We're going to do this 2 more times. So if you want to do the same variation every time, go for it. If you want to play with all the variations, do it. It's like, do a different one every time. So go ahead with your next inhale, lifting up. I'm going to do this one, because I never do this one. I always clasp my hands and like move my shoulders in. But this one's really nice. So you always want to keep notice of where your knees are. You don't want them to fan out. You really want them to stay hip distance apart, and then really lifting with your core, your hips, lifting with your hips. Here we go. I'm clasping my hands again. Okay, and that's probably 5 breaths. Let's go ahead, come down. Breathing. And one more time, last variation. I'm going to go ahead and do my supported bridge. Ah, that feels so good. Okay. Yeah. Again, taking note of where your knees are. You're lifting with your hips, using that core strength. You're breathing. And when you're ready, slowly with control, we are coming down into Shavasana. Best part of yoga. So go ahead, relax your facial muscles. Relax any tension in your forehead. Maybe you're lifting your tongue off of the roof of your mouth. Relaxing your shoulders. Letting your palms open up wide. Relaxing your legs, they're no longer engaged. Letting your feet fan out and open. Taking note of your breath. And when you're ready, I'm going to ask you to stretch, wiggle your toes and your hands. Slowly coming to your right side, staying here for a moment. And slowly with control, pushing yourself up, keeping your eyes closed. And if you have more time for Shavasana, I encourage you to stay in it for as long as possible. So finding a comfortable seated position, hands in prayer. I want to thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next week. Namaste.